Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Uh, Fine. So, okay. So our objective is first to understand what is a DevOps, what DevOps is. So, so first we'll talk about what DevOps is. Then we'll talk about why that companies are adopting the DevOps tools. Okay, what exactly is Agile? What is the meaning of Agile? Okay, so why should we go for DevOps? Okay, then we'll talk about how uh, DevOps, the type of tools we'll use. Um, so DevOps, we'll talk about DevOps tools functionalities. Okay, and then we'll talk about as a job perspective, we'll talk about job of DevOps in a market. There are four objectives as major objective. I think that you guys should understand. Okay, so and later on, how we are gonna train, or you can say train you during the training sessions. Okay, so these are the objective of the today from my side. So anybody know what exactly the DevOps is? Anybody who's working on Agile?
No, Kapil.
Okay, no issues. Okay, good. Javed, Kiran, Shailaja, anybody?
No, sir. This is my first class in DevOps.
Okay, you're first class in DevOps. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, Kapil, I'm not aware of DevOps, but I had like just Google it.
okay, you okay, fine. Okay, guys, no problem. So first we'll talk. DevOps is not a tool. Okay, it is exactly the culture. Okay, or the procedure, or we the companies adopt. Okay, the main objective of that adopting the DevOps culture is to spin out your product release as soon as possible. Okay, so it impacts on your product release if we are going with the DevOps environment. Okay, so and to spin or to release that product for DevOps, we use such type of tools, or we use the methodology of software development lifecycle is called Agile. So there are, because in companies whenever we create any software, that life cycle we say it's SDLC. It's called software development life cycle. The previously we were using that the model or waterfall model. Okay, but waterfall model is like it's not that fast as compared to we are using right now the Agile. So Agile is a process of uh, software development life cycle, but to get the agility we use a DevOps. The DevOps are the tools which we use mostly. Now we'll talk about, as I said, it's a culture, so don't compare it with any tools. Exactly, it's a culture. How you are gonna, different companies has their different set of rules that how their product will be going through such uh, phases. Okay, like we have different phases of your environment of development, staging, and production. And from your development prospect, from development to production environment, how the things get flow. That is the that different companies have a different approaches for those things. Okay, so there is no such effects. You can say the approach for that. So let's take a one example. Okay, then you will get to know that yeah, really the DevOps is requirement from our side. Let's suppose you all guys are working as a developers. Okay, so we have in company I have a uh, developers. Okay. So all developers get the requirement from their higher team or management that on this particular sprint, we are gonna work out on this models or new feature of my applications. Okay, so developers get the requirement, and the basis of their requirement, they start doing the development. Okay, so they are writing using any Node.js or any Java-based Java-based application or Python-based. According to your technology stack, the developers are writing their code. Okay, so once developers write their code, okay, now from develop after development after development they have a source code. Okay, so then we have one team that is called build and release. So that use of build and release team is they will, whatever the source code is from dev side, okay, they will collect those source code and build the one package. That package is might be a different format of, like, you might heard about var, jar. So there are different type of different format of package, okay, that we have to build. So that package is the combination or collections of the all source code that is from dev side. But previously, without using the DevOps functionalities, that build and release was getting it was very slow, because that task was done by the team, and that task was done by the team as a manual functionalities. So previously, without using any DevOps tool, we were using a manual we were using a manually over here. Yeah, fine. So, and due to that manually, like that, like suppose you all are the, let's suppose we are working as a DevOps. So let's suppose our build and release were happening manually once in a week, and that week is and that day in the week, that day is a Friday. Okay, so in all every week of Friday, our build and release happens. Now, let's suppose I am the one developer. I have assigned with 3 tasks for the month. What I did, I took my first task. I have written my code, okay, and I have submitted my code on on, you can say, let's suppose on Monday, okay. So Monday I have submitted my code, but on Friday when the build happened or build created by my team, okay, then I will get notified from their side that due to my code there is some build failure. The build failure, it could be possible that my according to defined rule, my code is there is a unit test failure, or might be there is a integration test failures, or could be possible with the performance as well. Okay, so let's suppose I have, just let's imagine that things, that if I have uploaded the code on Monday, on Friday they go for the build and release, and next Monday I get morning onwards, I get informed from my team that, couple, due to your code, build and release are not happening properly. So now the problem is that whatever I have done in my last or till my last Monday, it's not, I have written the code of 300 lines. I need to debug those lines again one by one. Okay. And you know, 7 days before whatever I have done, because it's not possible for me to get remember, because continuously I'm working on a different release. So as a developer side, it was is a problem that I have to debug the 300 line of codes, okay, to just fix that issues, and that indirectly its impact on my indirectly impact on my product release, that the release of my application or new functionalities should be done after 2 months, and due to that all procedure it will take times. Okay, so this is a problem. Do you guys, anybody has any doubt in till now?
Kapil,
Okay,
we're good.
fine.
Good.
So that so that things we have to resolve, because this is not only my issues. Okay, this is there are hundred of developers those are working into your company, and they all are facing the same issues. So we have to fix that issues. That is the problem from the, so that this was the problem from the dev side. Okay, so I said from the dev side we were facing some issues, so we have to fix it. Fine, no problem. The second, we have a build and release team. Okay, so previously we were doing the build and release manually. So, and this one also take the lots of time, because from build and release I had to collect the source code from the each and every code repositories, because all developers they contribute, and whatever the code they have written they upload it to one repositories, that is called, we say, code repository, source code management. Okay, SCM, this is the short form for that. We'll talk about these terminologies in our first session, what is those things. So after the SCM, that's the source code management, they build and release team collect the all code, and they go for a build. But that is also a very hectic task, because collecting the all 7 days whatever like code from the old developers and just go for a build, so it's very hectic task. So we have to resolve that build and release functionalities as well. The second part come into the scenario is like dev side, we are facing the problem from dev, build and release, and operation sides also there we have a team, those are responsible for to manage your servers, responsible sometime for your application deployment, to manage different components. So they have to, so that they have to deploy those things. So let me go over here. So let's suppose you have your build and release team has uh, successfully done with the build, and they have right now one uh, var file, or like you can say you have a var file or jar file with you. It's a Java based files, okay, application. So this is or you can say basically not a file. I said I have my package. Okay, so that package is uh, the all source code. So I can, to get the applications functionalities, I need to deploy this package. Okay, so we have our software with us. So this software should be get deployed somewhere, and to deploy those servers, deploy this package, we required a servers. Okay, so that it's now up to you that to what type of your environment is using by your company. That is called what type of architect is designed by your company. Are they working on microservices? Are they working on in microservices? They are working on cloud. They are working on Docker. They are working on different virtualization stack. So it depends company to company, but most of the companies they use right now the cloud, because this is the era of cloud right now. So cloud, even the Docker is also in market. So let's suppose your company is using the AWS environment, where they have the environment of in AWS, they are deploying or they are hosting their application, and to deploy that applications, they are using, might be on AWS also they are using some operating system. So it might be they are using Linux, or mostly the more than you can say 90% companies are using Linux, like for that on AWS or like that. But yeah, no problem. You can go for Linux and Windows on your AWS environment. This is operating system. First we have to install. Then that, as I said, either you can go for AWS or either might be a company are using the Docker. Okay, but let's suppose you have a cloud, you have a Docker. Okay, these are just a platform for you. Okay, but to deploy your application on these platform or on these operating system, if you are doing any task as a manual, mean to say manually you are installing the operating system and manually you are deploying this package to your environment, again it will take time. But let's suppose, let just think about that. If you have the application of an application has 100 servers, okay, and there is one new update comes into your application, so to change or to deploy the new change, okay, new application to your 100 of servers, it will take time. Okay, so we have to go for some uh, tools. Those tools will help us to reduce the time. So that first thing. So this is our platform environment we are using. The second one is that, as I said, we use some tools. I'll say tools for your configuration management. Okay, these are the tools we'll use. Whatever the tools name, we'll gonna talk about in the later. The third one is that is this is a very important part of the company that is called monitoring environment. Okay, that is also come into we say sometimes it's called for monitoring is done by the NOC team, or it's it is the part of operational part. So so our monitoring is a requirement because let's suppose we have a number of servers. Okay, so on which server there is service is down, which server is consuming more CPU utilization, we can't check it those things manually. So we required one monitoring systems that which give us a or send us a alert if there is something um, happening, or this something unrealistic, or whatever unrealistic happens on my operating system or on my servers. Let's suppose I have specified that if my service goes down, I should get the alert. That alert will comes in through the mail, or it comes under through the, you can go for a mail messages. So let's suppose I have one server, that server ID is 150. If the service goes down, I will get the alert, and then I will go to 150. I will just diagnose those things, what exactly the reason is, and I'll fix the issues. So this is what we have to do. So the things that in DevOps we need to understand the process first, that how our development is going on. Even DevOps team understand the components of your development team they are doing, and on the basis of that they will design, might be they will design their architect, or uh, they have to do go for a deployment. Because let's suppose at the time of deployment, if something goes your code deployment is not going successfully, then you have to sit with your development team and to understand that what where we are getting facing the issues. It might be a face problem with the Java version, it might be a problem with your Node.js version, so different versions is there. So just now I'll go back to the DevOps uh, definitions. As I said, DevOps is a culture where we adopt uh, such tools. So those tools reduce the release of my product. Okay, and and in DevOps we uh, very closely works with our team. Okay, so there is no such communication gap between DevOps teams and our dev team. Okay, so the DevOps team very closely works with the understand their product or the company's product and the developers need, and on the basis of development need we have to set up or we have to go for our environment. Okay, so these tasks was doing the manual task. This is the flow I have just given you environment. Okay, the flow side. So anybody has doubt, you can ask me right now, so we can. Uh, so so if you are okay, then I can go for a next part.
Yeah, how
Yeah,
different
Kapil.
we are. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead first, then second one go ahead. Go. Hello.
Yes, I will go first.
Sure.
Uh, how what will be the difference between agile model deployment and the waterfall model deployment?
The thing is that in agile model, just only I'll give a short brief. In agile model, we always keep getting the requirement, okay, from my client, and is very fastly we change into our applications, functionalities, add a new feature. But like in waterfall model, we get one concrete requirement in a one time. Okay, but in Agile, the requirement of client is changed in every sprint. Okay, that is not in the waterfall model. Clear? So in waterfall model, if you are designing any application, you will get one concrete requirement in a one time, then you have to develop. That is the waterfall model. There is no changes later on. We can do that, but that is not. That is what waterfall model says. But in agile model says that at every after every particular sprint you need to get the requirement from the client, and on the basis of that you have to fix the issues, get the feedback, fix the bugs, and again get the requirement. So it's like this is a process how exactly work process. I can't say process, but it is this is how the flow works. So we have a client over here. So and our in our if your company is a client base, okay, and then we have our team over here. They go for a like might be your technical manager, your the all the top the teams like development manager, your direct like technical directors, and their your testing teams. So you can say these are the teams. They just interact with the client and go for a scrum meetings. Okay, so they get the requirement from the client. On the basis of their requirement, they uh, they do the development, and during that they just after scrum same like all development cycle will be done. After that, after the all software development life cycle, you will have a product. Okay, so that whatever a product we have created, so what will happen that product, once the product is get created, so you have to check with your client that whatever is it the same he was expecting, is there any bug or not, if there would be anything, get the feedback. You can say one type of get the feedback from the client. If everything's fine, then again cycle will be go on, so that client will give the new features requirement, then again it will go for a cycle. So it like we say it's called uh, cycle is called like uh, plan, or you can say we have to first go for a requirement, then plan, then development and deploy, and then again for the cycles. I'll let me check. I might be have a one slide for you. So yeah, it's not a slide, even a diagram is good to understand. So you can see over here we have first the planning phase. Okay, then we have go for a code phase, then again have to go for a build phase, then we have a testing, then that called release. We have to go for again after release. This operational part would be go because as I said in DevOps there are two part. One is dev and this, and second one's ops. So in development side we have to gather the requirement, we have to code should be get built, and we have to go for test. Everything is working fine, then go for a release. If release is happening, we have to go, release is there, it means that this release I have to deploy. Okay, so the deployment is done. We are operating it over here, we are monitoring it right now. Again, the phase of plan will be gathered by the team. So this is called agile. We are continuously working on a different, uh, we can say, components or different models, and that for that we use, we say it's in scrum meeting, or we say it's a sprint is uh, a minimum days. Let's suppose your company has specified that every sprint would be for 2 month there would, for every 2 month there we have a sprint. In every sprint there you have some objective to be get clear. Okay, and some companies has a 20 days, 30 days sprint according to their need. So that the word we say it's a sprint. In sprint we have a particular objective that, during this, so let's suppose sprint in this sprint we are working on four components. Okay, four new features, and this is four new feature we have, and this is a work task divided, and every task is divided between my developers and my company, my other employees as well. So that is part of called agile. And previously in a waterfall model, that on one time we get a concrete requirement and we can go ahead with the our development phase. But over here we continuously working on such process. So hope it is a little bit clear to you.
Yes. And one more quick question.
Go ahead.
What is DevOps configuration, administration, and DevOps scripting?
That DevOps configuration management is like, configuration management are the tools like, we have a Ansible, we have a Puppet, we have a Chef environment. Those are the declarative language, or like that. Okay, but scripting is like, we have a scripting languages like, we have a Bash, mostly we use Python is there, Ruby is there. Those are the scripting languages we mostly use into the DevOps environment, because DevOps is totally is about what we are. That I said, main our objective is to reduce the time efforts, and to reduce the time effort, we have to go for automation. So as much or possible automation we can do, we can automate the whole life cycle of my product.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you will be covering both of the thing in our course curriculum, right?
I have a course curriculum, whatever the team has decided. Okay, that will be in front of you, the last of the session.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the second.
That's all from my end.
Fine. The second person. Okay, so nobody has question for that. Is it clear right now? So should we go for the next point? If yes, you can put into your chat box.
We can go for the next section. Yeah.
Fine. So now let's talk. But before that, yeah. So I said in DevOps also there are two things works. Like first, as we say, it's a Dev. Okay, and there are two keywords. So for development side, and we have ops side. So in development side, what type of tools we have to understand. Okay, what is more requirement in operational type, what type of tools we use. So till over here we said dev, build, and the package format, we say it's a that environment is called, we have a dev. Till that, this is left side is my dev side, and the right one is my operational side. Okay, so just give me a 1 minute, so I'll guide you through the tools as well, so that what tools we are used to. Okay. So as I said, this is just I'm going for quick go through the DevOps' approach to bridge a gap between agile software development operation. There's a combination and culture of philosophies. So that is not a part. So in role of DevOps, there is we have a dev, create a changes, modification features. Operations are like they are responsible for deployments, stabilities, and enhance the service, like reducing the load. So I'm going for this diagram so that just a diagram need to understand. So we have in this development pipeline, we have a developers over here. They have their for to collaboration. Uh, they have such a tool as, or you can say they have a repository is called source code repositories. The name of the source code repository is Git. Git is one of the DevOps tool. Okay, so now just parallelly I'll wrote down into my over here also, so that's would be easier for you to understand. So let's talk about now the dev part side, or you can say or operational side to op side, and yeah. So for dev side prospectors, for we have a source code repositories that is called Git. What Git is, I'll give you a short example. Let's suppose we are a developer. We have as we gather the requirement, we are writing the code. Okay, and that code should be get uploaded to somewhere. Okay, that is one of source repositories where every developers are doing their work and uploading to their server. That is called source repositories, or we say it's SCM, source code management tool. That is a Git. There is other alternatives as well. We have a Git, we have a Bitbucket, which is almost same. There is we have SDN, software delivery. So there is like SVN is all subversion control. So there is different tools for that. But we, as for the training, we are going to talk about the Git, which is very very highly used, or you can say very famous as well. The second part, once the code is get collected over here, we go for a second tool that is called Jenkins, that is called CI/CD tool, and that is for our build. That is for mainly for our build continuous integration and the build both. Now, as I explained in previous example, that we were doing the build manually, but right now instead of doing that build manually, we are using a one tool. That tool is called Jenkins. So now our build and release team is not doing the build manually, they are doing the build through the automatically through the Jenkins. How fast it happens, let me give the example. Let's suppose we have a dev 1. Once the dev has committed the code on source repo, at the same time, once the commit is done, he can trigger out the build at the same time, okay, without waiting for a 1 week or waiting for the Friday. So at this, once you go for the commit, click on the commit button, okay, then your code will be go for a build at the same time. You will get clarify that your build and your code, whatever you have written, it's getting success or failure. Okay, so if now just again imagine that if it's happening that you don't have to go for reading the all 300 code, okay, to debug that, because that same day you will get to know that there is some problem with your code. Okay, or on model that's what how the DevOps tools are help us to speed up the product release. Okay, so first we have a Git cycle, Git to Jenkins, and then we have a, because this Jenkins will give us a package build. Okay, we have a package the package we have to deploy. But to maintain the versioning of the package, we use such tool, those called as a version release. We have to go for testing and all these things. But to manage this package into one repositories, we have a package repo. There are two repos, guys. One is source repo. Source repo is like it is the repositories for source code which is written by the developers. After that, once build and release has happened properly, and on the basis of that, whatever the package we have, the output, the package we get, or we maintain the package repository also, that will be helpful to maintain. Let's suppose your right now your application version is 1.7.2, okay, and previously it was a 1.7.1. So we are managing the application version. So if you want to roll back to the older version, that will be make easier for you. That's why we always maintain the different package. We will use package repositories to manage our packages. Now we say now it's a operational part. Dev is done. Operational part. Now we have to, on operational part, we have to deploy this package. So we have a, for deployment doesn't happen directly on the production environment. Every company has, they have an environment of, as I said, they have a first pre-production. Some different terminology used. Someone says pre-production, someone says staging, and after staging we have a production environment. Okay, so for that pre-production or staging environment, you might be using the Docker, AWS, and for a configuration management tool, we are using different tool, like I said, Chef, Ansible, Puppet, and for monitoring we are using, and uh, that is called, I said, it depends on your Nagios or Jabex, those tools. Okay, so let me clarify that what we are gonna learn. Okay, so dev perspective and DevOps perspective. First, from the first day of training, I will not start directly into DevOps part. Okay, because I want everybody on the same page. For that one, I'll go for some basic of Linux basics, so that will help you out during the training sessions. That yeah, even if you're known to Linux, then fine. If you are not, still you are in good shape, that we can go for a uh, for the start one would be done with the Linux basic. It's like complimentary from my side, because if you are not if you don't have any idea about the Linux, then directly jump into the DevOps, sometime it's a problematic. Okay, so we'll go for a Linux first. Now then, after that, I will talk about the DevOps terms. Okay, this is how the flow workouts. Uh, then the topic we are going to talk about from dev part, it would be a first, it would be a Git. We'll talk about as a Git, as I said, a source code repository. Then we'll go for a Jenkins. This is called uh, tool is called CI/CD part, continuous integration and continuous. Sometimes we say it's a continuous deployment and continuous delivery. So that I'll explain you what exactly the meaning of this different terms. Uh, so Git and Jenkins is a two part, and then there we have to understand about that few part is called we say it's a Maven, or exactly what is ant do. Okay, there over here, if we have to understand, these are the build tool we have to use with the Jenkins. uh, these are the tools, but we'll see the full flow, that whenever you commit the code on Git, how once you commit the code on Git, how the automatically Jenkins get trigger out. That is the part called integration. So during the practical session, we understand how the Git and Jenkins integration work. Okay, this is the part of dev part from our side, and then operations part side. We'll talk about the basic of. There are some AWS services. We're gonna talk about those one. Then we have there is a part as a DevOps is like we have a cloud. As a component part, we are working on Docker part. For configuration management tool, during the training session, we have Ansible for you guys. So we are going to talk about the Ansible tool. That will be that's highly mostly get used because it's an agentless environment. Then the fourth one is we'll talk about the monitoring part, that is we are using an Azure. So this is what I think is a stack for the training perspective. So in this stack we are covering everything, because they in environment, you can say in the market there are many alternatives or different tools for the same task. Okay, but we have selected the tools which are highly used, okay, by the companies. Okay, so these are the tools I think we are going to cover during the training session. So if you guys have any doubt right now, you can ask me.
What about the scripting part?
That scripting part, that I because this is the course content we are, yeah, the Maruti has defined, and but I have to follow. But this because during can say, and moreover that I can't for to be a DevOps. You to be a DevOps, I can't. Yeah, there is a need of scripting, but only knowing, it's not only that knowing the scripting is will work out. You have to understand the flow of our DevOps, how these flows work. And for flows, if you're working on tools, then would be that would be a most important part, because that happens that sometime must be in your current company you are using the Ansible, okay, but next company they are not using the Ansible, they are using the Chef or might be a
Right.
Puppet. So the thing is that if you have a concept, you know that how the flow works. So switching that alternative would be a not problem for you. So that's why we instead of making, because we can add lots of things in the training session, but instead of that we have focused more on that conceptual part, and more we talk about as a practical works, because it's not like totally theoretical part, so we have to focus on practical part, and that will be, I think it's better to go, we have to deliver those things which is very essential or very necessary to you. So instead of going for the next part, that's what we were thinking about that.
Hey
Yeah.
Kapil, can I know how would be the typical day of a DevOps engineer? Like what would be the workflow that they would be following in a
Yeah.
day?
Okay, let's suppose that let's talk about my work, okay, because yeah, I'm working as a DevOps, so let's suppose what I do in my day task. So that every day we have to go for a, there we have objective that is called, we say it's a, we go for a stand up, okay. So we have a stand up meeting. In that stand up meeting we always all team discuss about what our objective for the day. Okay, so now after that we have to that now let's my talk about my part. I need to, so let's suppose there we, you are a developer, okay, you have a trigger a one build, and that build is getting failure, okay. So you will raise one ticket to me, okay, through the Zira Atlassian we are using. So and you will say that you will specify that this is my code, okay, which code is working fine on my local machine but is not working on properly on server. So could you please figure it out what exactly the issue is? Okay, so I have to go for it. Now let's second part. Let's suppose you have one application, okay, and for application we are going for a, we are going for the deployment, okay, and for that deployment we have to we have to go for a, we have to go for AWS. So I need to build, you have, I need to create the that environment, and then I go for a deployment. Clear? So like Ansible will use, we create uh, playbooks, or you can say playbook in Ansible, so that our configuration would be get very fast. Let's suppose configuration like that, I want to install some software, and instead of installing that software manually, okay, why not go for automatically, because every time I need to install. So there are few tasks, so that in DevOps you have to be assigned with the that type of task every time. Okay, so we, and it depends also that you as a DevOps, because it depends company to company. Mm, in my company, like if I talk about, in some companies there is a different teams who are different. So like one team is totally working for a dev side, and some team person is working directly on ops side. So on the basis of that, your work environment, you will get the chance to work on the tools. I can't say that you will get the chance to work on each and every tool, okay, but at least you understand that how these tools get used and how they are connecting to each other. Okay, so this is the few tasks. I just take example of two tasks that I used to, but apart of that, there are multiple things. Let's suppose sometime we have to go for integrations as well. So integration not about the DevOps tool, but let's about I have a like there is one component of my company which is integrating to another company. So that time I need to sit with my um, developers team that what exactly our objective is, okay, how the traffic will flow from our end to their end, from their end to our end, okay, and for that what type of infra, what type of setup we have to do at our end, that all things we have to we have to set up, okay, or we can say we have to deploy, we have to go for those things. So hope you will get an idea about that, uh, but it's not so this is what exactly we used to do as a DevOps teams. But previously, so it was like when we talk about there's a different phase. When we talk about Linux admin, they don't have that much interaction with the team, okay, as a developer team. But when I talk as a DevOps, so we have a very you can say we work in such a way so that it is a very collaborative manner with the DevOps team. So understand their needs, and on the basis of that, we have to go for a configuration, we have to go for a management, we have to go for a automation, we have to go for integration, we have to go for sometime migration, okay. So sometime and for and all these things we have a different stack of tools and different approaches as well.
Yeah, thank you, Kapil. And one more question is like how much coding do we need to know to be an like DevOps engineer?
To be a DevOps, you don't require, yeah, you don't, as a, to be a DevOps, you don't need, uh, need, uh, I can say, the coding part, okay, because there are few my team colleagues also, they are surviving, they are working fine, not issues we have from. But yeah, if you want that to be a, it's like a, after the experience you have, there is a requirement of the scripting language, because as I said, sometimes these tools have some limitation. But if you are good with the Python, you are good with your scripting language, you can create your one type of your own tool, okay, or one type of your own scripting. So scripting is always best because it will reduce your time, else you are doing tasks manually. So that is called, there are two type of work, is one is smart work, or we are if there's someone is working. So let's suppose if you're good with the scripting, you have done the task in 1 hour. Someone is not good with the scripting, he is taking the full day for the task. So going with the scripting, it is always good, even you are DevOps or either you are working in any I think a Linux admin, might be a knock engineer, any uh, in such type of environment. So without coding, it will work out fine because you are in a stage, okay. But once you are done with, you have experience, uh, the uh, there is expectation from your side that you should be good with any of your scripting language where you are comfortable.
Yeah, thanks, Kapil.
You're welcome. Yeah, anybody else?
Hi, Kapil. I have one question. Hello. Kapil,
Uh,
can you hear me?
there is a noise from your side. Because
I was contacting you only going to involve with the real-time example.
your,
So,
Shobha, your voice is not clear to us, and there is some noise disruption. So could you please write down uh, your question on chat box so that everybody would be able to understand. So just on right hand side there is a chat box. You can write down your question over there.
Hi, Kapil. Can you tell me what is the duration of this course?
Duration of the course, we have I can say there will be a taking. We require at least 30 to 40 hours, but we have specified, I think. But rest of the things, all guys, up to you that how fast you are grabbing. Okay, so that is also a must. But because instead of we are not focusing on the time hours. This time hours is a we have we are expecting that in that time duration we'll finish with the training, but it's not a hard and fast if you guys are lacking somewhere or something like that, so we have to extend 5 or 10 hours somewhere. Okay, so don't worry
Okay.
about we have don't try like after 30 hours we have to finish. No, it's not my our boundaries. So our first objective is the whatever whoever the guys with us just he should at least understand those things terminology, then we can go ahead with those things. Yeah. So
Okay.
are we going to explain with the help of real-time project? Definitely, but that I can explain you, but okay, but I can't say you that that we during the training session I will take a one uh, real-time project in front of you and go for that. It can't be possible because first our objective is to give you the basic what exactly you needed. Okay, if you are not even having the basic that if I go for that real time project you might be get that confused and that objective would be get into a different part. But yes, I'll show you that what I used to do in my real environment. Okay, uh, that and how in my company the real flow is working. Okay, that I will show you uh, time to time. But yeah, one thing more that there is some that those things will be not get recorded or something like that because there is some company policies and everything. So for that time I will not go for a recorded of my sessions when I will show you the my company's such environment in front of you. Apart of that, yeah, Shobha, and are you going to help us with the interviews preparation? Yeah, I'll show you with the I can, yeah, I can help you over there the interviews preparations, but there would be a according to, as I said, there according to terminology there would be a because you have to understand there I can help you with the interviews questions uh, uh, okay as a theoretical part. Okay, but a part of, yeah, those things will be helpful, but you have to more focus on the interviews and uh, real time scenarios will be get asked. So for that at least you have to do lots of work from your side as well.
Okay, regarding the Git and Jenkins and Maven, no?
Yeah.
You will help us in configuring in our local system?
No. Will we go for? I'll not help you in that. You are in a local system. Whatever the tools we are going to talk about, those all tools we are going to deploy, test, integration. Everything would be get done on cloud. So we are going to talk about first. Our session would be on for topic would be a cloud, so that everybody will be get aware with the cloud, AWS cloud. Then later on we'll go for different tools and all tools will be get configured and implemented over there, so you guys can also implement over there.
Okay. In cloud instance, Amazon Cloud Service, we need to
Yeah,
register and
yeah,
okay.
that's called AWS, Amazon Web Server Cloud. Web Cloud. Yeah, Shobha. Is Java knowledge will be helpful in his course? If you have a knowledge of Java, then it's good. But if not, then you have to understand some. Because I can't say that only the understanding of Java will help you out. But because let's suppose you have a good knowledge of Java, it means say you have a knowledge of how the development happens. Okay, because it can be possible that some company is not using the Java, they are using the PHP, they are using the Node.js, they are using different technology stack. But if you are a developer, you know that how the development is happening, that what problem I was facing, and now using these tools, those are problems get resolved. Okay, so Java coding is not necessary for this. If it is helpful because you have a concept of development, but I said uh, Java knowledge is like if Java knowledge is not a compulsory or not that good, just only need to understand that because as a developer DevOps part, I don't have to go into their code and just debug it. I just need to figure it out that this is the Java tool, and for this Java code we are using this build tool, and for this is how the build happened. This is the output of our var file. This is how I need to deploy, and for deployment for a Java application, we required we have to go for a you can say we have to go for a stack of environment. We have to go for a Tomcat Apache. Okay, that environment I need to set. We should understand that is just the environment understanding we know. We should know. Okay, if your company is working on Java based tools. Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, one quick request. Can we start the session at 5:30 instead of
That
5?
that things I can't decide right now. Okay, for that I think Maruti will call you after the sessions. Okay, and
Yeah.
you can consult with uh, him for that. Yeah, anybody from your side related to any technical doubt? Yeah, Javed, I think yours
Like,
is.
yeah, like we are just a bridge in between the coders and the client is the main aim of the developer. Like we are a bridge.
No, it's not a bridge between the client and the developer. It is a bridge between our developers and operation part. Previously, a different team was working on different area. So right now we are coupled and we are understanding. We are working in a collaboration method right now. So the both teams' objective is right now is the product will be get into the market as soon as possible. Why? Why the companies need that?
Like they,
Because yeah.
yeah, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
So that is like let's suppose let's suppose I'm higher management. Okay, so every time I think that my application get the new feature as soon as possible because there is a competitor in the market. So if they comes with the new features, there would be a problem for us. So that point of view, we go for a DevOps part. Okay, so bridging is like for client bridging is like yeah we are getting the requirement of client and we are just reaching to that goal as fast. And now, again, once we are done, we have to get the feedback to fix it out. Then again, we are using such tools. But bridging for that, there we have a scrum meetings and all these things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Okay. So, anybody else?
Yeah, how feasible it is used for other technologies like business objects reporting or OBO reporting? Is this DevOps support that tools also?
Reporting tools.
Yes.
Reporting in such case, just if you give me an example, then I can.
Suppose if you're working on a business objects,
Okay.
so there will be the form of universe and reports need to be migrated from one environment to another environment. So is it feasible with DevOps?
Yeah, there is also a DevOps. It might be it comes because if you have to, I need to check it out that there would be any tools for those things or not. But what we are using the right now, let's suppose, and for the reporting of that, let's suppose we have a DevOps team. We have to go for a reporting of what we are doing the task. Okay, and that time. We have some tools we are using to day-to-day monitoring of our environment. So that reports go to our higher management that this is a team and they are working on such. They are this is a work calculation from their sides. That what we can say right now.
Okay. I'm just asking about the which all the supported things, like which all the objects which we can use for the migrations or using the DevOps. Like currently you're saying like all the Java codes can be moved using the DevOps. So like that, is it supporting like the business objects codes or like some other BI reporting codes, Tableau, ClickView, all these things?
Your
Because
voice.
there we don't do any scripting transfer, we do only the objects transfer, like report, like different types of files will be migrating from one environment to another.
That we also do for those things. Let's suppose recently I have done the one environment because we have a one that is such type of task, but it's related to database. So what happens that we have one application that whatever the transactions we have done, okay, that it gives the output in the format of CSV file. Okay, so we get the one CSV file from our like a team that is a different team uh, they are just wait out. There we have let's suppose our marketing team or something like that. They provide us a one CSV file that this is a CSV file related to every month. So whenever the CSV file get uploaded to one of my storage, okay, that it will be automatically added into one of my database like we are using the DynamoDB, and from DynamoDB my application read, and on the basis of that we get the analytics informations. Okay, so there also you can automate the things, but for that also not the my management that or the person who is uploading um, uh, the CSV file, he's not responsible for that. The DevOps team is responsible to automate those tasks.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody else? So hope we are that I think objective is clear. So if anybody has any doubt, you can ask me right now. So else we are done with the session of the day, and if okay, so hope it's clear to you. So fine, guys. Nice talking to you. And so I'm closing this session right now. So further, if you will get a call from for the team, and you have any further queries, you can ask them for the same.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye bye. Good night.